On this week's episode of the WNP podcast, we react to Super Wildcard Weekend and tell you who needs to be the most feared team in the Elite Eight. Stay tuned. Episode 130 of the We're Not Professionals podcast. I'm your host, Mike Mitchelson, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chase Crawshaw. Chase, how you doing today?
I'm doing swell. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I am doing great, and we've got a special guest on the show today. George the Giraffe, thanks for coming on. How you feeling?
Giraffe noises.
No special guests on the show today, so we figured...
Quick question.
What's that?
What noise does a giraffe make?
I would have to guess it's probably similar to a horse. Kind of like the huffing under their breath type of thing.
Can you?
No. I will not be imitating that. But yeah, no guests on the show, but we're liking the 3-person setup. So we figured, hey, if Graham can't be on, if John can't be on, whoever comes on, if they can't be here, just bring in George. So
I'm a fan.
We got him for the show. Today's going to be a good one. It might be a little bit shorter than usual, which might be a good thing if you're not interested in our hour-long episodes.
In our just hour-long episode, that's just 40 minutes of me rambling.
Yeah, and there's often times where we get to like hour 15, hour 20, and it's just to the point where I'm even like, can I not edit this? But that's all right. We get it done. On this week's episode, going to be talking about first the Houston Texans, the situation with David Culley. We said that in the last episode, he's most likely on the hot seat starting next season, but we thought it was good for them not to fire him. The very next day, they decided to fire him. So we'll talk about that. Going to be looking at the Super Wildcard Weekend, talk about what happened there, and then look at predictions for the next round, but also we'll tell you who needs to be the most feared team when it comes to, the rest of the bracket, because there's some teams out there that are obviously good, but there's got to be one out there that I think everyone needs to be feared or fearful of. So we'll talk about that. But first, Chase, let's start with the Houston Texans situation. You came in, you're like, what are we talking about today? Are we talking about how dumb the Texans are? Why is that?
I mean, I get that they don't feel Dave Culley as their guy. And, when the hire happened, I was a little confused. It didn't really make sense to me. I thought it was a bad hire. Excuse me. But it doesn't matter because you hire the guy, you give him a multi-year contract. He comes in, he overproduces by 4 wins because that was a 0-17 roster. He well overproduced with a third-round rookie quarterback. Your second wide receiver being Danny Amendola, Rex Burkhead being your lead running back.
Just weird.
Like, if you find this success with this roster, how could you possibly even fathom firing that guy?
Yeah, it was an absolute mess. And I remember you and I, we made a bet early on in the season. You said David Johnson's going to get all the workload. I said Philip Lindsay's going to be the main guy. Both wrong.
Lindsay got the axe, Johnson got the bench.
Yeah, both wrong. So... that was fun. Luckily, I don't think, or did you have David Johnson in fantasy?
I had him at got him really for like a 3rd-round pick or something like that at one point. And
okay.
then I dumped his ass for like nothing.
Yeah, I know everyone tried to stay away from the Texans offense, but you make a good point. Like, he overproduced, and Davis Mills at times looked like the best rookie quarterback.
I would say as a whole, he had the best showing as a rookie quarterback. He had, he didn't have the Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson workload where they played, the whole season minus Zach Wilson missing, the 3 or 4 games there. Mm-hmm. But really, it was game 1 looked kind of rough for Davis Mills, and everything after that was, at worst, solid for the NFL. Plus, he had that one great 300-plus yard game where he looked literally like a stud quarterback. I don't get how you can just move on so quickly with that kind of, promise.
Right. And the thing that I dislike the most is it just seems like they brought him in because he was the interim, right, last year. So they brought him back to be the head coach just to be kind of that guy who takes all the blame. Because obviously the Texans were in a really bad state. The Deshaun Watson stuff was
Texas?
happening. Texans.
Texas. No, you said bad state. Texas.
Oh. No, I mean, I don't hate Texas.
I've never really been, so I can't say it.
I've been to Austin.
I'm just saying it lined up, so it was funny.
I've been to San Antonio, and when they say everything's bigger in Texas, no, like legitimately. I had
Are the people like 6'4" on average?
I would say like 6'7". 6'4" is probably a good average height for the females in Texas.
Wow.
Yeah, they're pretty big down there. But it just felt like they decided, let's just put all the blame on David Culley. Let him be the face that gets just absolutely trounced. And that's what annoys me the most, because he performed well, and you're still just going to let him go and just let him be the face of when the Texans were at their worst. So it was really annoying.
I agree. Make no sense to me. I just can't get behind it. If you're gonna do that to the guy, don't give him a multi-year contract.
Are the Texans the worst job when it comes to looking for like new head coaches?
Yeah, it would take the Bears trading Justin Fields and their next 3 first-round picks for a 7th-round pick for another team to be worse than the Texans right now for head coach openings.
Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of talk right now, or there was a lot of talk, I should say, about Brian Flores heading over to Houston and then maybe Deshaun Watson coming back. That talk has really settled down a little bit, and I just wasn't a believer whatsoever. Like, even if Brian Flores comes over there, I just think Deshaun Watson's done with the organization. I think he wants out no matter what, so I think that that talk was not really necessary, and at this point, we see it's dying down already.
Yeah, I agree. And, I see you don't have it on the docket real quick, so that reminded me that his time being done there in Houston. Calvin Ridley also looks like his time's going to be done in Atlanta, so nothing's official, but it sounds like he's looking for a change of scenery if he's going to try to make a return. Obviously, everyone knows that he stepped away from football this year due to some mental health reasons, so, it sounds like maybe he's getting back in the right place, and he wants to just kind of a new change of scenery. And I really can't imagine very many places he would go where he wouldn't automatically be the number 1 receiver. Maybe you can look at, like Dallas or Cincinnati, maybe Minnesota, and then wherever Devontae Adams ends up, it's kind of like about it. Everywhere else, Calvin Ridley is like just the number 1 receiver, so he's going to be a pretty hot ticket. Imagine a contender swings a Deshaun Watson and a Calvin Ridley trade.
That'd be pretty good.
That'd be pretty much impossible, but if it were to be done somehow, that'd be a fun football team to watch.
The Eagles have a lot of capital.
Oh, could you imagine?
I wouldn't rule out the Calvin Ridley thing, but it seems like they're good with Jalen Hurts. I know their GM came out today and said Jalen Hurts is the starter going into the offseason, so I would kind of doubt that. But they have all the capital that if they wanted to, they probably could.
So here's this idea.
Oh boy.
You trade for Deshaun Watson, you trade for Calvin Ridley, and Jalen Hurts is just ready to play fullback.
I feel like Jalen Hurts would have to be a part of the package.
Yeah.
There's a question for you. If, let's just say in this hypothetical universe, Jalen Hurts and, a couple first-round picks or whatever, go over to the Houston Texans for Deshaun Watson. If you're the Houston Texans, who are you starting? Jalen Hurts, Davis Mills, or are you looking to use one of those draft picks?
I would start Davis Mills. If they're going to trade for Jalen Hurts, they're going to play Jalen Hurts. And at that point, you trade Davis Mills for a second, maybe even a first from a team like,
Miami.
Yeah.
Because they need a quarterback.
That's fair. But like seriously, you could, if this crazy hypothetical were to happen, at that point I would try to trade Davis Mills because he's already he's going to get more than a 3rd round pick in trade return.
I think that what they do is they flip Jalen Hurts over to Washington so that Jalen Hurts can continue to make Philadelphia pay for
just dominate the division.
Yeah,
dominate the division with 140 passing yards a game.
Literally becomes like Jalen Hurts, then Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow, etc.
You know what? I would be fine with this scenario.
Yeah,
just working out just like that.
I think it'd be great. All right, Chase. Let's move on to the Super Wild Card Weekend. This was something I was really looking forward to because one of my Bengals were in it, and hey, they got their first wins of my lifetime. So it was.
Hey, send that text message. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, they haven't. No texts have been sent because the first text message was 1992. So it has now. But
yeah, that was the first tweet I saw from the Bengals after the win. The Bengals just tweeted, "Send that text message." I thought that was great.
Yeah, so I was super happy about that. At the time, though, I kind of couldn't really show my happiness because I was so stressed. So it was literally just relief because Zach Taylor was trying to throw the game away. But the Bengals game, the 49ers game, both close. The rest of the Super Wildcard weekend, kind of all blowouts and really disappointing.
I agree, but also that reminded me, the Raiders, this part was brought up that Rick Bisaccia is probably not being brought back as head coach.
Yeah, and Mike Mayock actually
is already out.
We know, he's out. So.
Yeah, so I just want to bring it up too because I completely forgot that even happened until you said that.
Mm-hmm.
I would have given the guy another year at least.
I don't mind him. The way they were able to go through all of that, it was all of the stuff that they had to go through, all the circumstances.
It was week after week of something else.
Yeah. The way that they were able to fight back was tremendous. The one thing that I do know is before the game on Saturday between the Raiders and the Bengals, it was announced that Derek Carr will likely have the decision if he wants to stay or leave Las Vegas, depending on the coach. So maybe he wasn't a big fan of Bisaccia.
Yeah, it could be.
Or maybe it doesn't really matter and he wants out, which would be heartbreaking, I think, to Las Vegas because he doesn't put up the best numbers, but if he's not there this year, they're not in the playoffs.
Oh, 100%. And here's the thing with Derek Carr. He's kind of like he's a slightly better Kirk Cousins, or maybe more than slightly better, where like he's better than Kirk Cousins in my opinion. He's good enough where like he's not really gonna hurt you, and he's also good enough where he's not gonna just be there. Like he's not gonna be just like Jared Goff in his prime for the Rams. Like he's just a guy. Like Derek Carr is a little more than a guy, but not enough of a guy to just carry you all the way.
Right. So weird situations going on in Las Vegas. The San Francisco 49ers Cowboys game, that's the only other game that was close. Probably the worst play call anyone's seen in the playoffs.
That's weird.
Like what was it, 12 seconds left on the clock, 14 seconds left on the clock, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. They're around the 35-yard line, and it's a QB draw up the middle, and they're not able to get there in time. And, I mean, there's so much stuff happening. Like, if Dak Prescott didn't run as far as he did, if the ref didn't have to move the ball as much as he did, everything like that. If you take all the circumstances and make them 100% perfect, there's still, 2 seconds on the clock?
Yeah, maybe. It might even only be a second.
So,
honestly.
like, just a terrible play call, I think, right off the bat, and it cost them. But, hey, the 49ers, all game long, were the better team. So, don't just blame that final call. Don't blame the refs. Dak Prescott came out in the post game and said he gives props to the fans for throwing stuff at refs, but then he came out on Twitter and apologized for it.
Well, it started that he was mad because he thought the fans were throwing stuff at them, so he was getting pissy. And the reporter's like, no, actually, they're throwing the refs. So he goes, oh, well, my credit to them then. Is what he said. Mm-hmm. And then he had to go and apologize, which, like, let the player. I'm all for letting the players have to say their piece, have their opinion, because it's kind of it's a country we live in is a free speech country, so I don't know why they would have to get in trouble for that kind of stuff. But, I get that frustration. But in this game, what I really wanted to bring up is that Jimmy G played solid through the first, 3 quarters, and he really wanted to lose that game in the fourth.
There seemed to be a lot of people in, Zach Taylor, Jimmy G, a lot of people in this wildcard weekend that were like, let's just throw the game away.
Yeah. Which, Trey Lance season next week already?
No.
Dude, if
Jimmy's brought you this far.
I know.
If you guys go out, not you guys, but if the 49ers go out to a real big deficit, say, I don't know.
3 scores?
Yeah. 3 scores in the first. I guess you got to gauge the offense.
Yeah.
Because if the defense doesn't do anything, there's nothing you can really do.
Yeah, but if the offense is turning the ball over or not getting first downs, yeah.
Right.
But, like, imagine Jimmy G plays how he played last game, which I would call, at best, average.
Elite.
At best, average, if not below average. If he plays at that pace for the rest of the playoffs, so they still find a way to win a Super Bowl, what a predicament what a horrible, chaotic predicament that is. Because you how do you trade away a quarterback after he's the starting quarterback for your Super Bowl winning team? Like, you can't. You just kind of can't. Mm-hmm. But that means you got to trade Trey Lance. And you can't just trade your 3rd overall pick after just hardly playing him. And when he did play in this most recent game that he played, he actually looked pretty good. Like how do you do this? I kind of want Trey Lance to be in San Francisco because I think it's a good fit for him. Mm-hmm. But I kind of want to see how this unfolds.
Right, it'd be a lot of fun. I don't think it
No,
will happen.
No, it's very unlikely. But
if it comes down to it, then you just gotta cut your losses. You know, you don't just hold on. Like the John Ross situation in Cincinnati. Like obviously it didn't work. Luckily they didn't sign him to a new deal and just let him go. So you can't just keep trying to force it, even though it's not working. So if that situation were to occur, it'd be cool. The rest of the games, though, the Patriots, Bills, Eagles, Buccaneers, Steelers, Chiefs, and Cardinals, Rams. Any thoughts on those games other than, like, Josh Allen looked great, Patrick Mahomes looked great? I mean, they were just all blowouts. There was nothing really... Yeah,
the winning teams, the QBs, all looked good. It's really what this game, or what these 4 games have been. The only thing is I tip my hat to the Steelers for that first defensive touchdown of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That got me paid. That was elite. But there's really not much more takeaway. I mean, saw the Chiefs-Steelers game going this way. Saw the Buccaneers-Eagles game going this way. I thought Bills were going to win. Didn't think it was going to be quite like this. And then I also thought the Rams were going to win. Didn't think it was going to be quite like this. But, like, Kyler looked terrible. The whole Cardinals team just looked terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots just didn't stand a chance in that game.
Yeah, that was bad.
You're gonna let this be a learning experience. The rookie quarterback move on. Hopefully, he's better down the road. But that's all this thing. It's all this comes down to. It's hard to hope for much more of a rookie quarterback than even a playoff appearance.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to think. Like looking back on it, and obviously hindsight's 20/20. But thinking the Patriots Bills were going to be that close when you have a rookie quarterback going away in his first playoff appearance. Like, why were we all, and why was, everyone in the media thinking, oh, this is going to be a really close game?
Yeah. If the Bills play in a dome, maybe it'd be closer.
Right.
But
so let's talk about this next round. We've got the Titans versus the Bengals, the Chiefs versus the Bills, Packers, Niners, and Tampa versus the Rams. What matchup are you looking most forward to this weekend?
It's got to be Bills Chiefs for me. I think that game's going to be great. It's the Sunday night game. It's got the Super Bowl time slot, the 6:30 game. It's great. I look really forward to that one. But I'm going to watch all 4 of these games. This is going to be really good football.
Yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, the Bengals-Titans, the one I'm looking forward to the most, just because I'm a Bengals fan. But it's hard because last week I knew, okay, if anyone puts the Bengals and Raiders as the game you least want to watch, I'll be pissed. There's Chiefs-Steelers. No one wants to watch the Steelers play. Bucs-Eagles is probably going to be a blowout. So why would you have that the lowest? But this week, I think it's pretty obvious that the Titans and the Bengals are probably the lowest ratings when it comes to this Elite 8 round. So
yes,
because the Packers 49ers I think is going to be a great game. There's a lot of good games going on.
And are you kidding me? Rams, Bucks, Matthew Stafford coming off his first playoff win against Tom Brady, who has more playoff wins than most NFL franchises.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the most watched game, either at the 3:00 time slot.
Yeah, I think that I would rate it KC, Buffalo, San Francisco, Green Bay, Tampa, LA, and then Titans, Cincy would kind of just be ruled out. But I would assume everyone has that at 4.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know if I'm gonna put the Niners Packers in the top 2 just because it's a Saturday night game, and we're gonna watch it. But there's people that do stuff on Saturday night where they're not watching the game, or they're watching it at a bar, so there's just less viewers, less household viewers, that kind of thing.
I'm excited for that game. I think it might rival KC Buffalo, just because of the whole storyline about San Francisco passing up on Aaron Rodgers, going to Alex Smith back in their draft class. We know Aaron Rodgers is from California and everything. I think it could be a lot of fun.
If the game was in San Francisco, it'd be a lot better.
Good news for the Titans is Derrick Henry. He basically cleared when it came to contact practice today, so he'll be ready to go.
It's a little spooky for the Bengals, especially with the defense possibly beat up.
A little bit. Trey Hendrickson should be back, but Larry Ogunjobi, he's out for the season now. So good games. We'll make predictions on those in a little bit here. I want to know, though, out of these 8 teams, and we've talked about how these 8 teams all seem like they could catch fire and potentially win a Super Bowl. But who do you think is the scariest team of these 8? And I'm not saying an underdog, scary team. I'm saying no. Who do you think is the most dominant team right now that you do not want to face?
Who's the one that the other 7 don't want to face? For me, It's got to be the Buccaneers. This is not an easy choice for me. I think a lot of these, there's like 2 or 3 teams here. I think the Buccaneers, I think the Bills, I think the Chiefs. I think those 3 teams are the ones that really do it for me. But the reason I'm going to go with the Buccaneers is that like when you get playoff Tom Brady, it's just a different breed. Like that's all. That's maybe the most dominant outside of Tiger Woods. It's the most dominant person in sports is playoff Tom Brady. He just runs through teams in the playoffs. He makes them his bitch, like no other way to put it.
Right.
And the offense still looked great without Chris Godwin, without Antonio Brown, even with the running backs kind of beat up. Keyshawn Vaughn had some key runs. So if Fournette's good to go, then how do they not win?
I just I don't know who I would pick. I'm leaning towards one team, but you could make an argument for anyone. You could say the Titans, they got Derrick Henry. If he's healthy, how are you going to stop him?
Yeah.
The Bills, if they perform like they did last week, how are you going to stop them? The Rams have so much star-studded talent. If Matthew Stafford doesn't turn the ball over, they could do something big. But I think I'm going to go with the Packers. And it's weird because the Packers, they always fail when it comes to the NFC Championship. And if it happens again this year, I wouldn't be shocked. But they are getting healthy at the right time. When everyone else is losing players, they are gaining players like Jair Alexander and so many others. Aaron Rodgers has played at an MVP level for the past 2 seasons. I just think that this team could do it this year. And if I'm looking at it as a Bengals fan, that's the team I'd least likely want to play. So, because they're probably, outside of like maybe the Chiefs, they're probably the only team I could see going tit for tat with the Bengals offense if the Bengals offense is high flying like they were against the Chiefs. Because I think that Joe Burrow can outduel Tom Brady when it comes to passing yards, passing touchdowns, all that.
Maybe that's not the thing. I think I might throw the Bills in that ring as well, just like because there's so many big play threats, just like the Bengals.
Is there?
Yeah, Stephon Diggs is obviously a legit.
Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. That's all you got.
Josh Allen. When Emmanuel Sanders does get on the field, he struggled a little bit this year, but he's still made some very big plays. Gabriel Davis is clutch in the red zone.
Yeah, I see. As a Bengals fan, I'm not worried about those weapons as much as I am like the Packers. Even though it's only Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's literally just that.
You can't cover him though. Devontae Adams is easily the best wide receiver in my mind.
I could cover him.
Oh, you could?
Yeah.
Like with a blanket when he's going to bed or something?
Yeah.
All right, let's now talk about the team that just doesn't have a chance this year. I mean, we just talked about all of these teams likely have a chance to get there, but is there one team that you're looking at and you're like, I just don't think they're up to the level as the rest of these teams?
The Bengals are my 8th ranked team.
Wow.
Like if I'm choosing one, it has to be the Bengals. They're my 8th ranked team. Like, I mentioned the Buccaneers, the Bills, Chiefs are all in that category. Then the next up is Packers and Rams together. Then the 49ers and Titans are together. And then the Bengals are just kind of there. And it's not because of the Bengals players. It's because I think that they could very easily get out coached by all the remaining coaches in the playoffs.
Even Kyle Shanahan, the guy you were calling for his head?
Even Kyle Shanahan, the guy that I was not calling for his head. The guy I was just saying, maybe we need to ask some questions. Because maybe we still do.
I probably have to agree with you. I think for me, it's San Francisco or Cincinnati.
Yeah, if I had to go one way or the other between San Francisco and Tennessee, I'd lean San Francisco.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good top 5 to have Green Bay, LA, Tampa, Buffalo, and Kansas City.
Yeah.
Because the Titans, if they don't have prime Derrick Henry, then they could be out this week.
Right. Even with Henry, they could still be out this week. It's not impossible. It's just if you had to put, like if you had some, poker chips, and you had to put poker chips, on who you have the most faith in, and you're going down, and the last thing you're going to put them on is the Bengals here.
I also want to ask this question. We saw some great performances out of quarterbacks that have been a little bit inconsistent this year. When I'm talking that specifically, I'm talking the Rams with Matthew Stafford. He's had a lot of turnovers, most turnovers in the league. Josh Allen looked like the best quarterback in the world last week. We've seen he's had some inconsistencies this year too. is there a quarterback that you think can continue their playoff success that they've already seen? Or do you think maybe both of these guys and maybe another one don't repeat the same success in this upcoming round?
So are you saying like just based off like the last round, you think think they can continue?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying will Josh Allen have,
Yeah, I feel like I heard you wrong.
300 plus and 5 touchdowns, but these quarterbacks have all been known to have some inconsistency.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think they find that inconsistency in this next round, or do you think they're able to keep up their good play from the first round?
I mean, expect them to regress a little bit, it's hard to just go out in the NFL every week and just put up just like purely dominant numbers, especially when you're playing other truly competitive teams. So expect, some regression, but Josh Allen's a guy that any week could all of a sudden randomly have 400 yards because he can just throw the ball deep downfield and hit on that accuracy. So he can just randomly have those types of games. So I don't see it, as being impossible, especially for a Josh Allen, but you still got to expect a little bit of regression.
All right, last 2 questions for you. Scariest offense remaining?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm looking at these 8 teams, and I want to say it's the Bengals, just like weapons.
Hey,
I don't see the Bengals weapons, not the Bengals coaches.
Right.
Yeah. So the weapons itself is the Bengals, but if you're gonna put the coaching into it as well, I'll probably say the Chiefs.
Scariest defense?
I don't know. The Rams, I guess. It's got to be, right?
Rams, I think that the 49ers could be in the conversation as well.
Like Von Miller looked great last week. Of course, you had Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, but other than that, the defense kind of drops off a good amount between them and the star talent. But 3 stars is enough to really make the difference.
All right, let's now move on into our predictions. We'll start with the Saturday afternoon game, 4:30. The Bengals, they travel to Tennessee to face the Titans. What do you got? And give me a score.
Give you a score.
Give me a score.
What spread do you have them?
I can get them.
I would like to know. While you're finding that, if you're not new to the show, or if you are new, it doesn't matter. I have taken the Bengals in every single game this season. Every single one.
He has.
And I've been more right than wrong. And, maybe people should listen to me when I'm choosing the Bengals more often. And I think you should listen to me this time as I, yet again, choose the Bengals to win.
Oh, I thought you were going to do a little change up there.
I think it's very well possible, but for some reason, I don't think Derrick Henry is going to be able to go out and dominate. Because even before he got hurt, there's a couple games here where he was kind of inconsistent or slowing down a little bit. There was obviously stretches where he was just completely dominant, but there's 2 or 3 games where it's it's a little iffy. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to come out a little slow and get to a point where they might have to throw the ball. They might be down 2-3 scores. They have to throw the ball. So if that's the case, I like the Bengals in this one, 31-21.
The Titans are a 3.5-point favorite.
I figured.
This is an interesting one because if Zach Taylor plays like he did, or coaches like he did against the Ravens and the Chiefs, I could see this one being a blowout. Because if they got to turn away from Derrick Henry and go strictly passing, they don't match with what the Bengals can do.
Right.
But if Zach Taylor comes out and coaches like he did this past weekend against the Raiders, I think that there could be a good chance the Titans can win it at the end with Derrick Henry. Obviously, he always picks up steam as the game goes on. He gets better into the 3rd and 4th quarter, and that scares me a lot. But I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go
31-21?
No. I'm going to go with the Bengals. And I'm going to say they come out hot. They're going to take it 34-20.
Oh, you think it's going to be a blowout?
Even bigger. If they come out hot, I think it will be a blowout. But will they? But will they? That's the question.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right, next up, Saturday night game, 49ers at the Packers. The Packers are a 6-point favorite. Fun game.
It should be a fun game. But I do think the Packers are going to win. I think a lot of people are going to be in that boat, if not most. And if I had to lean one way or the other, I would say that the Packers do cover. I'm going to call this a 35-27 game.
Okay. See, I don't know. I at first thought, let's just predict the Packers in an absolute blowout. But I'm not going to do that.
Packers, 83-0.
Packers are not going to cover as they win 27-23.
There we go.
That's what I'm going with. Sunday, Rams at Bucks. The Bucks are a 3-point favorite. How about I go first this time?
Go ahead.
So you can think a little bit.
Go ahead.
I'm going the Bucks in not a slaughter, but I think it's going to be a convincing win, 31-14.
I'm rooting really hard for the Rams because I want my Super Bowl prediction of Rams-Bills to be right. But it's got to be the Bucks in this game. And what was the spread?
That's $3. It's
just 3 flats, annoying. They'll cover. I think it's gonna be closer. 28-24.
So the Bucks will cover.
Yeah.
Okay. Bills at Chiefs. Wow, the closest spread only
1.5.
being 2
Oh, dang.
for the Chiefs.
Bills are gonna cover and win, baby. Let's go. Buffalo Bills. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. 31-28 final. Game-winning field goal.
Hey, the Bills beat the Chiefs earlier on in the season. That will not be replicated as the Chiefs come out and win 34-31.
Not happening, sorry.
Close game.
Not happening, sorry.
Hey,
Tyler Bass, game-winning field goal from 52 yards.
it's going to be a Viking situation. He's going to miss it.
I don't think so, Chief. I don't think so.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our predictions. However, we do want to say we're getting near the end of the season.
We are.
And when the season's over, what does that mean, Chase?
Prospect rankings.
That means we start buckling down, doing a bunch of research, watching a lot of college film, and telling you who we think the top guys are. In case you're unaware, huge Justin Herbert guys here coming out of the draft.
Not a big deal.
Not many people were.
No, they were not.
But he's turned out all right, I would say.
Yeah, not bad. He's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback's going to be really fun this year because I think we're all going to be very different.
I think so, too.
Whoever decides to do this with us, or otherwise just me and you, I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of differences.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we just wanted to announce that. Make sure you're staying in touch with us because we're going to have all of that good stuff. If you're big into college football, big into prospects, it's going to be the perfect time of the year for you. But that's going to do it for the show. We want to thank you so much for coming out and giving us a listen. If you want to stay up to date with all that we do, you can follow us on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. That's, again, on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. We also have a Facebook group, an Instagram, and a TikTok. Those links will be down in the description as well as the Twitter link so that you can follow us over there. If you are listening on YouTube, if you could, please give us a like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to turn on notifications. YouTube will let you know when we have new episodes coming out. And down there in the comments, let us know who you think is the scariest team remaining of these 8 teams. If you're listening on a podcast platform, if you're listening on a podcast platform, we would really appreciate it if you could give us a follow and a 5-star rating. Thanks so much for coming out. And as always, we're not professionals.